And enough is enough. It's the message a new group of Idaho legal experts they're sending to the Idaho legislature. We've talked about this on the 208, about the state's, the legislature of the state, that is, their record of passing bills that the Attorney General's office says are unconstitutional. And as a result, that legislation often ends up being challenged in court, costing Idaho taxpayers millions of dollars over the years. Well, this group says it's time this trend stopped. Joe Paris spoke with a leader of the committee to protect and preserve the Idaho Constitution about their group and their plan of action.
There has been an unprecedented effort by the Idaho legislature this session to ignore the Constitution.
As he follows the 2021 legislative session, Jim Jones, retired Chief Justice of the Idaho Supreme Court, says he has concerns about legislation that he believes is unconstitutional in advancing at the State House. He says he's finally seen enough and has an idea.
Maybe we need to get some lawyers together to resist it.
He found veteran legal experts that shared his opinion, and thus a group was created.
It's Committee to Protect and Preserve the Idaho Constitution.
Since 2004, the state of Idaho has lost 8 cases involving a law passed by the state legislature that was challenged for being unconstitutional. At least one bill passed during last session is also currently in legal limbo. All legal fees are paid by Idaho taxpayer dollars out of the Constitutional Defense Fund, created in 1995 to defend the state's legal rights against the federal government.
Yeah, over $3 million have gone out to defend unconstitutional bills. I don't know why they call it the Constitutional Defense Fund. I think they ought to call it the Unconstitutional Bill Defense Fund.
The committee, which includes 2 former Idaho attorneys general, a former deputy attorney general, and senior lawyer of the Idaho Bar, aim to work as a watchdog group.
We're going to, number one, blow the whistle when the legislature starts moving legislation that would violate provisions of the Constitution. And secondly, if need be, go into court to oppose those efforts.
So far, the committee has identified at least 5 pieces of legislation this session that they believe are unconstitutional. They involve the governor's executive power, the attorney general's power, and ballot initiative rule changes.
So many of these people come to the legislature and they say, well, I believe in constitutional government. But when it comes to upholding the Constitution, they're not very faithful to what they profess to believe. We want to let the people know why various proposals are violative of the constitutional provisions, separation of powers, checks and balances, so that they can evaluate what their legislators are doing and maybe give them a little bit of time to think in retirement.
Justice Jones points out that the legislature has a long record of passing legislation that the Attorney General's office told them was unconstitutional. He adds that this isn't a political play and they're not on anyone's side. He says they're on the side of the law.
People just don't like the fact that the Attorney General has told them they can't do something because it's a violation of the Constitution. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear some clown who will tell them, oh yeah, you can do that. But if they get taken to court, they just end up with egg on their face.
When that happens, again, Jones says that it costs Idaho taxpayers lots of money. The Committee to Protect and Preserve the Idaho Constitution is not a symbolic gesture, Jones says. He says they have a growing group of Idaho legal experts joining their cause, ready to take action if lawmakers continue to pass legislation that they believe is unconstitutional.
We intend to go as far as we need to be going in order to get the unconstitutional legislation off the books.
Well, Mr. Jones mincing no words there, Joseph. That's pretty impressive. Legal fights, they're pretty expensive. So who's going to be paying the committee to work and spend their time as they're working on these cases if they should pop up?
Well, the committee has an understanding, Brian, that they'll be working pro bono, which means they'll be working for free. They're doing this as a volunteer basis. Justice Jones tells me they're so passionate about protecting the Idaho Constitution that this isn't about money or political stance. They say this is exactly what it looks like. They say just to protect the Constitution and prevent legislation from passing that they believe is unconstitutional.
Interesting. So pro bono versus on the other side, there's a bill working its way through the State House right now that's actually looking to take and hire outside lawyers. So the possibility of defending these bills that could be unconstitutional could be more expensive to the taxpayer. So it's quite the opposite side of the spectrum there. All right, thank you very much, Joe.